Okay, picture this for a moment. It's late. It's Washington, D.C., a chilly November evening. Things are winding down.
Yeah.
And President Trump is on 60 Minutes
Hmm.
talking about nuclear stuff, global powers.
Yeah.
And then, just sort of casually, he says it.
Mm.
He says, Russia's testing and China's testing, but they don't talk about it. And certainly North Korea's been testing. Pakistan's been testing.
Just like that. 4 countries, 1 sentence.
Yeah.
And that last one, Pakistan. Wow.
Exactly. No big announcement, no proof offered right then, just dropped into the conversation. But that claim that Pakistan's been testing, it sent shockwaves, really.
It absolutely did. And that's what we're going to unpack for you today. We're digging into this alleged bombshell, looking at where it comes from, the history behind Pakistan's nuclear program. Decades of it, really.
Yeah.
And try to understand why whispers like this about things happening underground in South Asia, why they matter so much right now. We need to get past the headlines.
So let's track the immediate reaction. The interview airs. The world hears this pretty stark claim. Islamabad, well, they denied it behind the scenes pretty quickly. But the first really loud official noise came from somewhere else, didn't it?
It did. It came from New Delhi, which is telling in itself. Just a few days after the interview, November 7th, 2025, India's spokesperson, Randhir Jaiswal, steps up to the podium.
And what did he say? Because knowing the India-Pakistan dynamic, you'd expect something pointed.
Oh, it was pointed, all right. It wasn't just we're concerned. No, he used it. He immediately linked Trump's comment to Pakistan's entire nuclear history, basically saying, see, we told you so.
How specifically? What was the language?
He said, and this is pretty direct, that these alleged activities are in keeping with Pakistan's history that is centered around decades of smuggling, export control violations, secret partnerships, AQ-Khan network, and further proliferation.
Wow. So dusting off the whole AQ-Khan saga immediately.
Instantly. India framed it as vindication. They said they've been flagging these kinds of issues for years, and now the U.S. president's comment. They've taken note. It's diplomatic code for we agree, and this confirms our suspicions.
Okay, but hang on. Is that fair? I mean, jumping straight back to AQ-Khan decades ago, is that history genuinely relevant to alleged testing in 2025? Or is it just, the handiest political weapon for India to grab?
That's a really good question, and I think the answer is it's deeply relevant. Because that history, especially the AQ-Khan part, it wasn't just about getting the bomb, it was about how they got it. Secrecy, illicit networks. That was the playbook from the start.
Right back in the late 70s, driven by the need to match India's progress.
Exactly, and the central figure there is, of course, Abdul Qadir Khan.
The metallurgist turned global nuclear black marketeer, essentially.
That's not an exaggeration. Khan set up this sprawling network in the 80s and 90s. He wasn't just sharing notes, he was literally shipping designs, centrifuge parts, the works, like a catalog for rogue states.
And we know who the customers were.
We do. Iran, Libya, North Korea. He spread the technology far and wide. The full extent only really became public knowledge around 2004 when he confessed on Pakistani TV. So when India brings up AQ-Khan now, they're essentially saying, look, if they operated like that to build the bomb, why should we believe they'd be transparent about testing it? The secrecy is baked in. Precisely. That history provides the context, the precedent for operating outside the lines. It makes the current accusation feel much less like it came out of nowhere.
Okay, so that's the legacy of acquiring the bomb through clandestine means.
Yeah.
But then came 1998. Pakistan went from secrets to a very, very public statement.
Yeah, 1998 was the watershed moment, no more ambiguity. India tested first, the Pokhran-2 tests in Rajasthan, May 11th and 13th, 5 explosions, India planting its flag.
And Pakistan's reaction wasn't slow.
Not at all. Swift and deliberate. Just 2 weeks later, end of May 98, the Chagai Hills near the Afghan border. Pakistan detonates its own devices, Chagai 1st and Chagai 3.
These weren't small tests either.
No, the main one, Chagai, registered 5.0 on the Richter scale. You could feel it. It shook the region, literally and geopolitically. It cemented that tit-for-tat dynamic. India tests, Pakistan follows. That became the unwritten rule.
Since 98, though, Pakistan has officially been quiet on the testing front. They talk about restraint. But you mentioned something important earlier about treaties.
Yes, this is crucial. Since 1998, Pakistan has maintained what it calls a unilateral moratorium on nuclear testing. Sound good, right? Restraint.
But there's a catch.
There's a big catch. Pakistan has not signed the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, the CTBT. That treaty is the global agreement designed to ban all nuclear explosions everywhere, by everyone, and it includes verification measures.
So a unilateral moratorium just means we promise not to test right now, but we can change our minds whenever we want, and we don't want international inspectors checking.
Basically, yes. Refusing to sign the CTBT keeps their options open. It signals they aren't willing to accept legally binding international oversight on testing.
Which brings us right back to 2025. And Trump's claim. He wasn't talking about a big Richter scale rocking public test like 98. He specified underground tests, silent rumbles.
Exactly. The ambiguity of detonation. And this is where things get technically fuzzy and, frankly, quite spooky, especially with the timing.
What timing?
Well, just before Trump made that comment, between late April and mid-May 2025, there was a series of tremors recorded near the Afghanistan-Pakistan border.
Ah, how big were they? Anything like the 1998 tests? No, much smaller, sneakier, in the range of magnitude 4.0 to 4.7. Now, here's the thing. Seismic waves from an earthquake look different from an explosion. Quakes tend to shear sideways, explosions push outwards.
Okay.
Seismologists can usually tell the difference if the event is strong enough. But down in that 4.0 or 4.5 range, especially in a seismically active area like that border region full of natural fault lines,
The signal gets muddy. Hard to distinguish a small, maybe deliberately low-yield test from just another earth tremor. Precisely. It gets very difficult to be 100% certain. Modern clandestine testing, if it's happening, likely aims for exactly that low-yield sweet spot, to exploit the ambiguity, the technical limits of detection.
so you've got these ambiguous rumbles, you've got the President of the United States pointing the finger. How did Islamabad respond directly to that specific accusation?
The denial was interesting, very specific wording. A top security official told CBS News, "We will not be the first to resume nuclear tests."
We will not be the first. That sounds familiar.
It's a direct echo of 1998, isn't it? It's not just a denial, it's a signal to India and to the US. We stick to the old rules, we won't start it, but if India tests, it's reinforcing that tit-for-tat posture, a denial wrapped in a veiled threat.
Okay, let's step back for a second. Look at the global picture.
Yeah.
How does Pakistan's stance on testing compare to the other major nuclear powers?
Well, the trend among the established powers has been towards stopping tests. The US hasn't tested since 1992. Russia since 1990, China stopped in 96. These countries might not have all ratified the CTBT, but they generally act as if they're bound by it. Then you have the outlier, North Korea, which has tested 6 times since 2006, including a huge one in 2017.
In Pakistan.
Pakistan sits in this uncomfortable middle ground. They have the official moratorium suggesting they're playing by the rules of restraint, but by refusing the CTBT, they reject the verification and the legal finality that comes with it. It keeps everyone guessing.
And in terms of actual weapons, what are the current best guesses for their arsenal size compared to India?
The estimates fluctuate, but generally, Pakistan is thought to have around 170 warheads. India, maybe slightly fewer, around 160 plus, but there's a key policy difference.
Which is?
India has a declared no first-use policy. They pledge not to initiate nuclear use, only to retaliate if attacked with nukes first. It's meant to be a stabilizing doctrine. Pakistan does not have this policy. They maintain the option of using nuclear weapons first, potentially in response to a conventional attack.
Which adds another layer of tension to the whole situation. So, bringing this all together for you, the listener, why does this one comment, these tremors, this history, matter so much? What's the real takeaway here?
It matters because South Asia is arguably one of the most dangerous nuclear flashpoints on Earth. Any hint of new activity, any ambiguity is incredibly destabilizing. This episode highlights, I think, 2 critical problems.
Okay, what are they?
First, the technical challenge we talked about. Verifying low-yield underground tests in complex geological zones is just plain hard. The technology to hide a test might actually be outpacing the technology to definitively detect one in some scenarios.
And the second problem goes back to that history.
It does. It goes back to AQ-Con. The fact that such a sophisticated, illicit network could operate for so long, peddling the most sensitive technology, it raises uncomfortable questions about current controls. If secrecy and smuggling worked then to get the bomb, how confident can we be that similar methods aren't being used now to test it quietly? The ghost of that network still hangs over everything.
So we've gone from a remark on TV, back through decades of secret deals and proliferation, to the public blasts of 98, and landed in this murky present of maybe tremors in 2025. It really shows how fragile trust is in this arena. It really does. And maybe this is the final thought to leave you with. This whole situation boils down to a conflict between transparency and deliberate opacity.
Yeah.
Pakistan maintains a moratorium of promise, but it refuses the treaty, the proof, the verification.
Right.
They're choosing to leverage uncertainty.
Yep.
So the real challenge isn't just technical, can we detect a test? It's political. How much ambiguity is the world willing to live with, especially when that ambiguity involves two nuclear-armed rivals with a history like theirs? Deciding that threshold, that's far trickier than reading a seismograph.